Let me ask you something, and I want you to sit with this before your mind tries to answer it. What if the most disorienting season of your life is not something going wrong, but something going right, in a way your current identity cannot yet comprehend? What if the confusion you feel right now, the strange sense that your old life no longer fits, that the things you used to want no longer pull you forward, that relationships and routines and ambitions that once defined you are quietly losing their shape? What if all of that is not collapse but construction? Not an ending, but the earliest stage of a beginning so fundamentally different from anything you have known that your nervous system literally does not have a category for it yet. Most people will never hear this. Most people, when they reach the moment you may be standing in right now, will do exactly what the old version of themselves would do. They will panic, they will grip, they will scramble to rebuild the structure that is dissolving, and in doing so, they will pull themselves right back into the life they were finally outgrowing. But you are here. And the fact that you are here, that something in you recognized the title of this and felt not just curiosity but resonance, that tells me something important. You are not falling apart. You are falling through. And there is a difference between those two things that changes everything. So stay with me. Because what we are about to move through together is not just an idea. It is a map of the territory you are already standing in. And once you can see where you are, really see it, the fear begins dissolving on its own. There is a moment in personal evolution that almost no one talks about, because it is almost impossible to describe while it is happening. Nothing dramatic appears on the surface. Your world still looks roughly the same. The same streets, the same faces, the same morning routine, the same phone buzzing with the same notifications. And yet something underneath all of it has shifted, not moved, shifted. The way tectonic plates shift miles beneath the surface long before anyone on the ground feels the earthquake. You cannot point to it. You cannot explain it to someone who asks what is wrong, because nothing is wrong exactly. And yet nothing feels right either. Not in the way it used to. Many people mistake this stage for depression. Some think they are losing motivation. Others assume they are simply going through a rough patch, a temporary emotional dip that will correct itself if they just push through, stay busy, keep grinding, keep performing the version of themselves that everyone around them recognizes. But what is actually happening is far more interesting and in many ways far more profound than any of those explanations. Your internal operating system is being rewritten, and the life that was built on top of the old code is starting to glitch. Think about it this way. Every structure in your life right now, your career, your relationships, your daily habits, the way you spend your time, the things you pursue, the version of success you have been chasing, all of it was built by a particular version of you. A version with specific beliefs about what was possible. Specific fears about what would happen if you stopped performing. Specific emotional patterns that attracted specific types of people and opportunities and environments. That version of you created a life that matched its frequency. Not metaphorically, functionally. The choices you made, the things you tolerated, the dreams you chased, the compromises you accepted. All of it was a coherent expression of who you believed yourself to be. And that is fine. That is how it works for everyone. Your external reality is always a reflection of your internal identity. Always, without exception. But here is where it gets interesting. What happens when that internal identity begins to change? Not when you decide intellectually that you want to be different. Not when you read a book or watch a video or write in your journal about the person you want to become. Those are surface-level adjustments. Important, perhaps, but not what I am talking about. I am talking about something deeper, something that often happens without your permission. A shift at the level of your nervous system, your perception, your felt sense of who you are in the world. A shift that does not announce itself with fireworks or revelations, but with something much quieter. A slow, strange, almost eerie sense that the life you are living no longer belongs to you. This is the beginning of what some would call a timeline shift. And I want to be very precise about what I mean by that, because the language gets misused constantly. I am not talking about mystical teleportation between parallel dimensions the way science fiction portrays it. I am not talking about waking up one morning in a completely different reality. What I am talking about is something that quantum physics actually points toward in a way that most people never take the time to truly understand. In quantum theory, reality does not exist as a single fixed path. This is not speculation. This is what the mathematics describes. At the subatomic level, particles do not have definite properties until they are observed. Before measurement, a quantum system exists in what physicists call superposition, a state where multiple possibilities coexist simultaneously. It is only when observation occurs, when consciousness interacts with the system, that one of those possibilities collapses into a definite physical outcome. Now pause with that for a moment. Really let it land. What this suggests, and what physicists and consciousness researchers have been exploring for decades, is that reality, at its most fundamental level, is not solid. It is probabilistic. It is a field of potential. And the act of observation, the act of conscious awareness interacting with that field, plays a role in determining which potential becomes actual. If this is resonating with you, if you can feel the truth of this landing somewhere deeper than your intellect, take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to this channel so we can keep going deeper together. Apply this to your life and something extraordinary begins to emerge. Your life is not a single predetermined road stretching from birth to death. It is a constantly shifting landscape of probabilities. At every moment, multiple potential outcomes exist. Multiple versions of next week, next month, next year are all present as possibilities within the field. And the version that becomes most likely, the one that collapses into your lived experience, is influenced by the state of the observer. By you. By the version of consciousness you are operating from right now. So when your internal state begins changing, when something deep within your identity starts evolving, the probabilities connected to your life begin reorganizing. Not because you wished for it, not because you performed some ritual or repeated an affirmation enough times, but because the observer has changed. And when the observer changes, the field responds. This is what is actually happening when your old life starts dissolving. The probability structure surrounding your existence is reconfiguring. The outcomes that were most likely when you were operating from the old identity are losing their probability. And new outcomes, ones that match the person you are becoming, are gaining strength. But here is the part that nobody warns you about. This transition does not happen instantly, and the space between the old timeline and the new one is the most uncomfortable territory a human being can occupy. Let me describe what this space actually feels like, because I think you will recognize it immediately. Goals that once felt urgent stop mattering, not in a dramatic way. Not like you wake up one morning and decide to abandon everything. It is subtler than that. The emotional charge behind certain ambitions just begins to fade. You still remember wanting them. You can still articulate why they seemed important. But when you check in with your body, with your actual felt experience, the pull is gone. The hunger has quieted. And in its place is something that your mind will almost certainly misinterpret as apathy. Relationships begin shifting. Again, not dramatically at first. But conversations that used to feel engaging start feeling hollow. People you used to align with energetically begin feeling like they are speaking a language you no longer fully understand. You still care about them. You may still love them deeply. But the connection point, the frequency at which you used to meet, has moved. And you can feel the gap even if you cannot name it. Your environment starts feeling wrong. The apartment that once felt like home now feels like a waiting room. The city that once excited you now feels like a costume you have outgrown. The routines that once gave your days structure now feel like they belong to someone else's life. Because in a very real sense, they do. This is the dissolution phase. And it is terrifying if you do not understand what it means. Because from the perspective of the old identity, everything looks like it is falling apart. The mind scans the landscape of your life and sees loss everywhere. Loss of motivation, loss of connection, loss of certainty, loss of the story you were telling yourself about who you are and where you are going. But here is what the mind cannot see from its current vantage point. What looks like loss is actually release. What feels like falling apart is actually falling away. The structures that are dissolving are not your life. They are the scaffolding that was holding up a version of your life that you have already outgrown. And scaffolding is supposed to come down once the building can stand on its own. Let that land for a moment. Breathe into it. I want to pause here and ask you something. When did you first feel it? That quiet knowing that your old life was no longer yours. Drop that moment in the comments below, not the whole story, just the moment. Because when you name it, you take your power back from it. The discomfort you feel right now is not a sign that something has gone wrong. It is a sign that something is going right at a level so deep that your conscious mind has not caught up yet. Your nervous system is ahead of your narrative. Your body knows something your thoughts have not figured out how to articulate. And that gap between what you feel and what you can explain is exactly where transformation lives. Now here is where I need you to pay very close attention, because this is the part that determines everything. This is the fork in the road that most people do not even realize they are standing at. When life enters this dissolution phase, when the old structures begin losing their hold, the brain does something completely predictable. It panics. Not always in an obvious way. Sometimes the panic looks like productivity. Sometimes it looks like making sudden decisions. Sometimes it looks like going back to an ex or taking a job you know is wrong for you, or filling every moment with noise and distraction so you do not have to sit in the unbearable openness of not knowing what comes next. The brain does this because, from a neurological perspective, uncertainty activates the same circuits that respond to physical danger. When the future is unclear, the amygdala fires. Cortisol rises. The nervous system shifts into a state of heightened alertness, scanning the environment for threats, searching desperately for something familiar to anchor to. And the most familiar thing available is always the old identity, the old patterns, the old way of being. So the brain whispers, "Go back. This was a mistake. You were fine before. Just return to what you know." Stop this foolishness and get back on track. And this is the moment. Right here. This is where timelines diverge. If you listen to that voice, if you obey the panic and rush back into the old patterns, something very specific happens at the level of probability. The nervous system sends the same signals it has always sent. The brain returns to the old predictive model. Your emotional state reverts to the familiar frequency, and reality, responding to the observer as it always does, begins reorganizing around the old identity again. The new timeline that was beginning to form quietly collapses. The possibilities that were gathering strength lose their charge, and you find yourself back in the life you were outgrowing, wondering why nothing ever really changes. This is not punishment. This is physics. This is the mechanics of how consciousness interacts with the field of probability. When the observer reverts to its previous state, the probabilities connected to that state reassert themselves. It is not personal. It is structural. But if you can do something different in that moment of uncertainty, something that every cell in your body might resist, everything changes. And what is that something different? It is not action. It is not forcing a new direction. It is not manifesting or visualizing or repeating affirmations until your jaw aches. It is something far simpler and far more difficult than any of that. It is staying. Staying in the discomfort. Staying in the not knowing. Staying in the dissolving without rushing to rebuild. Allowing the old structures to come down without immediately replacing them with new ones. Letting the space be empty. Letting the silence be silent. Letting the uncertainty remain uncertain. This is the hardest thing a human being can do. Because everything in your conditioning, everything your culture taught you, everything your survival programming demands, says that emptiness is dangerous, that not knowing is failing, that if you are not actively building something, you are wasting your life. But what if the emptiness is not empty at all? What if it is full of something your old perception simply could not detect? In physics, what appears to be empty space is actually teeming with energy. The quantum vacuum, what scientists once thought was pure nothingness, turns out to be one of the most energetically dense states in the universe. Virtual particles flicker in and out of existence billions of times per second. Potential is everywhere, vibrating, waiting, ready to collapse into form the moment the right conditions emerge. The emptiness you feel during a timeline shift is the same kind of emptiness. It is not absence. It is potential. It is the space between what was and what will be. And that space is not dead. It is pregnant with possibility. But only if you do not fill it prematurely with the wreckage of who you used to be. So let me ask you something. What would it feel like to trust the dissolution? Not to enjoy it necessarily, not to pretend it does not hurt, but to trust it. To look at everything that is falling away and instead of gripping, instead of panicking, instead of scrambling to rebuild, to simply say, I see what is happening. I do not fully understand it yet, but I trust that Dissolution. And I trust that what is coming will arrive when the space is ready. Feel that in your body for a moment, not as an idea, as a physical sensation. What does trust feel like in your chest, in your belly, in the muscles of your shoulders that have been carrying the weight of certainty for so long? Because this is not just philosophy. This is practice. And the practice is what makes the difference between someone who reads about transformation and someone who actually transforms. Tell me in the comments, what is the one thing you keep gripping that you know in your bones you are meant to release? Say it out loud in that comment section, because the moment you write it down, you begin loosening its hold on you. Now let me take you deeper. Because there is a mechanism behind all of this that most people never learn about, and understanding it changes everything about how you navigate this phase. Your brain is a prediction machine. This is one of the most well-established findings in modern neuroscience. The primary function of your brain is not to react to reality. It is to predict reality. Every moment of every day, your brain is generating a model of what it expects to happen next based on what has happened before. It takes your past experiences, your emotional memories, your learned patterns, and it projects them forward in time, creating a simulation of the future that it then compares against incoming sensory data. This is why familiar situations feel comfortable, even when they are not good for you. The brain does not optimize for happiness. It optimizes for predictability. A known suffering is neurologically preferable to an unknown possibility because at least the known suffering has a predictive model attached to it. The brain knows what to expect. It knows how to respond. It knows what chemicals to release and what circuits to activate. But when your identity begins shifting, this entire system starts breaking down. The old predictive models stop matching incoming reality. The brain generates its usual expectations, and then the world does not conform. You expect to feel motivated by your old goals, and instead you feel nothing. You expect a conversation to follow its usual emotional pattern, and instead it feels flat. You expect your morning routine to ground you the way it always has, and instead it feels mechanical, hollow, like going through motions that belong to a character in a movie you have already stopped watching. This is not dysfunction. This is recalibration. The brain is losing confidence in its old model of reality because that model was built by a version of you that is no longer running the show. And in the gap between the old model dissolving and the new one forming, something remarkable happens. Your perception opens. When the brain stops projecting the past so aggressively into the future, you begin seeing things you have never noticed before. Not because they were not there, they were always there. But the predictive model was filtering them out. The brain was so busy confirming its expectations that it literally could not perceive possibilities that did not match its existing map. This is why people in the dissolution phase often report strange experiences. Synchronicities increase. Ideas appear seemingly from nowhere. Conversations with strangers reveal exactly the insight they needed to hear. A book falls open to a page that speaks directly to their situation. An opportunity emerges from a direction they never would have looked. These are not magical events. They are perceptual events. The filter has changed. The observer is operating from a different state. And when the observer helms, what the observer can perceive changes with it. Possibilities that were always present in the field, but previously invisible to your particular configuration of consciousness, suddenly become detectable. This is the quantum observer effect playing out at the scale of a human life. Not as metaphor, as mechanism. And this is why rushing to rebuild during the dissolution phase is so counterproductive. Because when you force action from the old identity, you reactivate the old predictive model. The brain snaps back into its familiar filtering pattern, and all those new possibilities that were just beginning to become visible disappear behind the veil of your previous expectations. You have to let the old filter dissolve completely before the new one can stabilize. You have to tolerate the temporary blur of seeing without a fixed frame of reference. You have to be willing to not know who you are for a while, so that who you are becoming has room to emerge. This is what the mystics have been saying for thousands of years in every tradition on every continent. The death before the rebirth, the dark night of the soul, the cocoon before the butterfly, the void before creation. Every wisdom tradition on earth has a name for this space because every human being who has ever genuinely transformed has had to pass through it. But here is what those traditions sometimes fail to emphasize. You do not just passively wait in this space, you actively participate in it. Not through doing, but through being, through the quality of awareness you bring to the dissolution. Through how you hold yourself while everything you thought you were quietly comes apart. Let me show you what I mean. Right now, wherever you are, I want you to notice your breathing. Do not change it. Just notice it. Feel the air entering your body. Feel your chest expand. Feel the brief pause at the top of the inhale where everything is full. And then feel the release, the letting go, the exhale that empties you without effort. Now notice something. You did not have to think about that breath. You did not have to plan it or force it or figure it out. It happened. Intelligence moved through your body without your conscious intervention. The same intelligence that is beating your heart right now. The same intelligence that is digesting your food and healing your wounds and replacing your cells and maintaining the staggering complexity of your biological existence without you having to manage a single detail. This intelligence is not separate from the intelligence that is reorganizing your life right now. It is the same field, the same consciousness, the same organizing principle that turns acorns into oak trees and embryos into human beings and stars into solar systems. It does not need your help. It does not need your anxiety. It does not need your frantic attempts to control the process. What it needs is your trust, your presence, your willingness to stay aware without interfering. This is the practice, not meditation in the formal sense necessarily, although that can help, but a way of being that you carry into every moment of the dissolution phase. A quality of open, alert, non-reactive awareness that allows the reorganization to proceed without interference from the old identity trying to reassert control. When the fear arises, and it will arise, you notice it. You feel it in your body. You acknowledge it. And then you let it move through you without obeying it. You do not push it away. You do not pretend it is not there. You do not spiritually bypass it with positive affirmations. You feel it fully and you let it pass. Because fear during a timeline shift is not a signal that something is wrong. It is the old identity recognizing that it is being replaced. It is the ego sensing its own obsolescence and doing what any threatened structure does, fighting to survive. But you are not your ego. You are not your old identity. You are the awareness that can observe the ego panicking without being consumed by it. You are the consciousness that remains when every story about who you are has been stripped away. And that consciousness, that deeper you, is not afraid of the dissolution. It initiated it. Let that land. The deepest part of you is not afraid of what is happening. The deepest part of you is orchestrating what is happening. The fear belongs to the character. The peace belongs to the author. and you are beginning to remember which one you actually are. Now here is where the science and the spirituality converge in a way that I find genuinely breathtaking. In physics, there is a concept called a phase transition. It describes the moment when a system shifts from one stable state to another. Water becoming steam, carbon becoming diamond, iron becoming magnetized. In each case, the system passes through a point of critical instability where the old structure can no longer sustain itself, but the new structure has not yet fully formed. At this critical point, the system is maximally sensitive to influence. Tiny inputs that would have no effect during a stable phase can completely determine the new structure that emerges. The system is, in a sense, listening. It is open. It is waiting for the signal that will tell it what to become next. Human consciousness undergoes the same kind of phase transition. And the dissolution phase you may be experiencing right now is that critical point. The old structure of your identity, your beliefs, your habits, your emotional patterns, your self-concept, all of it is losing stability. And the new structure has not yet crystallized. This means you are in the most powerful moment of the entire transformation. Not the most comfortable. The most powerful. Because right now, at this critical point, the quality of your consciousness has maximum influence over what emerges next. The thoughts you think, the emotions you cultivate, the state of being you maintain during this unstable phase will disproportionately shape the new timeline that forms. This is not magical thinking. This is how phase transitions work in every system in nature. The moment of maximum instability is the moment of maximum creative potential, and you are in it right now. So what do you do with this knowledge? How do you practically navigate a phase transition in consciousness? First, you stop pathologizing the instability. You stop treating the dissolution as a problem to be solved. You stop asking what is wrong with me and start asking what is emerging through me. This single shift in framing changes your entire neurological response to the situation. When the brain interprets uncertainty as a problem, it activates stress circuits. When it interprets uncertainty as a creative process, it activates curiosity circuits. Different chemicals, different neural pathways, different relationship with the field of probability. Second, you become extraordinarily careful about what you feed your consciousness during this phase. Because remember, the system is maximally sensitive right now. Inputs that would barely register during a stable phase can have outsized effects during a transition. The conversations you have, the content you consume, the environments you inhabit, the emotional states you marinate in, all of it is writing code for the next version of your reality. This is not about being paranoid or controlling. It is about being intentional. During a phase transition, you are not just living your life. You are programming your future. And the program is being written not by your thoughts, but by your state of being, by the frequency of your consciousness, by the felt quality of your moment-to-moment experience. What we have touched on today, this understanding of the observer, the field, the dissolution, the phase transition, this is only the surface of a much deeper system. If you are feeling the pull to go further, to understand the complete framework of how consciousness moves through these frequencies, from survival static all the way to becoming the broadcast itself, I have laid out the entire journey step by step in my book Beyond the Frequencies, a quantum guide to consciousness mastery. It contains layers upon layers of understanding, including the 9 master frequencies and the practices that allow you to navigate each stage of this transformation with clarity and trust. It is linked in the pinned comment below. So ask yourself honestly, what state am I spending most of my time in right now? Am I marinating in fear about what I am losing? Am I drowning in nostalgia for the old version of my life? Am I filling the emptiness with noise and distraction because the silence feels unbearable? Or am I cultivating something different? Presence, openness, trust, curiosity about what is forming, willingness to be surprised by what comes next. The answer to that question is not trivial. It is the single most important factor determining which timeline crystallizes when the phase transition completes. Third, and this is perhaps the most counterintuitive piece, you let the old life dissolve completely. You do not try to salvage pieces of it. You do not try to carry the old furniture into the new house. You let it go. All of it. Not because it was bad, not because it was wrong, but because it was complete. It served its purpose. It taught you what it needed to teach you. And now it is finished. This does not necessarily mean you quit your job tomorrow, or end every relationship, or move to a different country. External changes may or may not be part of the process. What I am talking about is internal. Letting go of your attachment to the old identity. Letting go of the need to be recognized as the person you used to be. Letting go of the story that says your worth is tied to your past achievements or your current circumstances. Because as long as you are holding on to the old identity, even unconsciously, you are sending signals to the field that say, I am still this person. And the field, being responsive to the observer, will continue organizing probabilities around that signal. The old timeline will keep trying to assert itself. The same patterns will keep recurring. The same types of situations will keep appearing. Letting go is not giving up. Letting go is giving permission. Permission for the new to emerge. Permission for the field to reorganize. Permission for the version of you that has been waiting in the probability space to finally collapse into physical reality. And here is something beautiful that happens when you truly let go. The things that are meant to stay in your life will stay. They will transform along with you. They will meet you at the new frequency. The relationships that are real will deepen. The work that is aligned will evolve. The parts of your life that carry genuine resonance will not disappear. They will be refined. What falls away is only what was held in place by the old identity. And the fact that it falls away so easily once you stop gripping is proof that it was never truly yours to begin with. It was borrowed. It was temporary scaffolding. And now the building is strong enough to stand without it. There is one more thing I want you to understand about this process, because it is the piece that brings everything together and gives you the confidence to trust what is happening. When a timeline shift completes, when the phase transition finishes, and the new structure of your consciousness stabilizes, something remarkable happens. The path forward becomes suddenly, almost shockingly clear. Not because someone hands you a map, not because the universe sends you a sign written in skywriting, but because your perception has changed so fundamentally that you can now see what was always there. It is like spending your entire life looking at the world through a window smeared with old paint, and then one day the paint dissolves and you realize the landscape outside was never blurry. Your window was. The opportunities were always there. The connections were always available. The next steps were always obvious. But you could not see them because you were looking through the filter of an identity that had no access to those possibilities. When the new identity stabilizes, the filter changes. And suddenly, everything makes sense. Not in a way you could have predicted. Not in a way the old version of you could have planned. But in a way that feels so natural, so inevitable, so perfectly aligned that you wonder how you ever lived any other way. People who have been through this describe it in remarkably similar terms, regardless of their background or belief system. They say things like, "It felt like coming home to a place I had never been." They say, "Everything clicked into place and I could not explain why." They say, "I stopped trying to figure out my life, and my life started figuring itself out." This is not wishful thinking. This is the lived experience of a consciousness that has completed a phase transition. The uncertainty resolves. The emptiness fills. The dissolution gives way to a new coherence that is more stable, more authentic, and more alive than anything the old identity could have constructed. And the most astonishing part is that the new life that emerges often exceeds anything the old identity could have imagined. Because the old identity was limited by its own predictive model. It could only envision futures that were extrapolations of the past. But the new identity, born from the dissolution, born from the willingness to let go and trust the process, has access to possibilities that the old model could never have computed. This is why people who go through genuine transformation often end up in lives that they never would have chosen from their previous state of consciousness. Not because they were forced into something unexpected, but because their expanded perception revealed options that were literally invisible before. The field of probability contains far more possibilities than any single identity can perceive. And when your identity upgrades, your access to that field upgrades with it. So here is what I want you to take from everything we have moved through together. If your old life is dissolving right now, if the things you used to want are losing their pull, if relationships are shifting and motivations are fading and the ground beneath your feet feels less solid than it used to, do not panic. Do not rush to rebuild. Do not let the fear of the unknown drive you back into the arms of the familiar. What is happening to you is not a breakdown. It is a breakthrough that has not finished breaking through yet. You are in the space between who you were and who you are becoming. And that space, as uncomfortable as it is the most sacred and powerful territory in all of human experience. The caterpillar does not become a butterfly by adding wings to a caterpillar body. It dissolves completely. Inside the cocoon, the caterpillar literally liquefies. Every structure breaks down. Every cell loses its previous function. And from that liquid, from that formless potential, an entirely new creature assembles itself. A creature that can fly. A creature that the caterpillar could never have imagined, because caterpillars do not have the perceptual equipment to conceive of flight. You are in the cocoon, and I know it is dark in there. I know it feels like everything is dissolving. I know the mind is screaming that something has gone terribly wrong, but nothing has gone wrong. Everything is going exactly as it must. The dissolution is not the enemy of your transformation. It is the mechanism of your transformation. Without it, the new cannot form. Without the willingness to become formless, you remain forever trapped in the last form you inhabited. If someone in your life is going through this same kind of dissolution right now, send them this video. That act of sharing is not small. It creates a ripple in the field. Because when you help someone else recognize their transformation for what it truly is, you reinforce that recognition in yourself. You anchor the frequency deeper. You accelerate the shift for both of you. So let go, not with resignation, not with defeat, but with the quiet, fierce trust of someone who understands that the intelligence orchestrating this process is the same intelligence that orchestrates galaxies and ecosystems and the unfathomable complexity of life itself. It does not make mistakes. It does not lose its way, and it has not lost you. You are being reorganized. You are being upgraded. You are being moved from one stable state of consciousness to another. And the version of reality that is assembling itself around the person you are becoming is more beautiful, more aligned, and more alive than anything the old version of you could have engineered. Your only job right now is to stay present, to stay aware, to feel everything without running from it, to trust the emptiness, to let the old fall away with grace, and to remain open, genuinely open, to the possibility that what comes next will be beyond anything you currently have the capacity to imagine, because it will be. The dissolution is not the end of your story. It is the space between chapters. And the next chapter, the one being written right now in the quantum field of your consciousness, in the probability space that is reorganizing around the person you are becoming, that chapter does not begin with you figuring everything out. It begins with you letting everything go. And then, in the silence that follows, in the stillness that remains when every false structure has finally fallen, you will hear it. Not a voice exactly, not a thought. Something quieter than that. Something that has been speaking to you your entire life but could never be heard over the noise of who you thought you were. It will say, this is who you have always been. And now, finally, your life can reflect it. If this reached you at the right moment, if something in these words resonated not just with your mind, but with your body, with that deep knowing in your chest that recognizes truth before the intellect can verify it, then you are exactly where you need to be. Subscribe to this channel, because this is not the last conversation we need to have. There is more to explore, more to understand, more to embody. And the journey you are on deserves companions who speak this language. Leave a comment below. Not an essay. Just one word. The one word that describes what you are releasing right now. What is the old structure that is dissolving in your life? Name it. Not for me, for you. Because naming what you are letting go of is the first act of conscious release. It is the moment you stop being a victim of the dissolution and become a participant in it. And then come back. Because the next time we meet here, we will go deeper. We always go deeper. Your old life is dissolving, and that is the best news you have received in a very long time. Trust it. Stay with it. Let it happen. What comes next will be worth everything it cost to get here. And if you are ready to understand what is waiting on the other side of this dissolution, go watch You're Entering the Biggest Comeback of Your Life right now. That video reveals exactly what begins forming once you stop resisting the shift, and why the version of your life that is assembling right now will surpass anything the old you could have planned.